Hi everyone, Sid here in the car driving to work. Driving's in air quotes. As you might see, I'm in total gridlock right now. Far downstream from me, there's an accident which is backing up here, but that is not the topic for this video. As you know, Donald Trump is the president-elect, and I would like to get some stuff off my chest. Forgive me if this video ends up being rambly. This may or may not end up being a series. I don't know if I'm gonna cover everything I want to cover, but there's, I just can't wait to get back to just blogging about the stuff that I like to blog about. There are a couple topics that have been on the back burner, but as I've said, these are the Olympics of sophistry, so it's important to pay attention, especially for your own intellectual self-defense. And honestly, I am really disappointed in this is a grievance I've had for a while with lefties in general, where, as entertaining as it is to watch them freak out over Trump's presidency, I am further disappointed and reminded of how shitty their arguments are. I mean, honestly, this has bugged me for so long. There are so many legitimate reasons to be anti-Trump. There are plenty of shocking things that he has said and purported. The doing stuff, I'm not knowledgeable enough, so I'm not going to go there. But the legitimate reasons to be anti-Trump, I feel as though I'm always the one bringing them up when they come up, and it's, the one thing that I hope will happen over the next 4 years is that, as Trump actually wields the reins of power, that we can go away from this, he's a sexist, he's a racist, he's a cheater, and this stuff, and get closer to actual policy. I mean, honestly, okay, one thing that I forgot to mention, I am giving myself carte blanche to go on all the tangents that I feel come up, because since the Olympics of sophistry are over, I just want to make sure that, that the tank is empty before waiting for another 4 years. So, one thing that fucking bugged me and is a total example of the shit that I just mentioned. The first fucking debate, okay? What was everyone freaking out about after the first debate? He brought up Rosie O'Donnell and the Twitter stuff. First of all, either the moderator or Clinton brought up the social media stuff. Trump used Rosie O'Donnell as an example to illustrate an issue that either Clinton or the moderator brought up. He didn't just, fuck Rosie O'Donnell. That's not what happened. And if you were paying attention towards during the debate, you would know this. But so yeah, the after the first debate, people are freaking out over Donald Trump brings back old Twitter war with Rosie O'Donnell and his fucking tax returns. You know what else happened during that fucking debate? And that I feel I'm the only one who ever brings up. He was fucking praising how great stop and frisk is. But no. Let's talk about his tax returns. Let's talk about Rosie O'Donnell. Speaking of stop and frisk, there's two things that are undeniable about stop and frisk. First of all, there's no denying that stop and frisk is effective. He was right when he brought that up. You know what else is undeniable about stop and frisk? It's wrong. Which was why it was so shocking to me, someone who was actually paying attention during that fucking debate, that he would say that. And it was shocking, and there was also some ambivalence because, as I just said, there's no denying that it's effective. But it's also wrong, and that's undeniable as well. And to see the lefties spend so much time mentally shitting all over Facebook and Twitter over his fucking tax returns and Roddy O'Donnell was yet another disappointment. And, to me, the scary thing about Tuesday's results is that Clinton won the popular vote. That's the scary thing to me, that roughly 200,000 more people want Clinton in office than Trump. It's yet another... Well, actually, there are a bunch of reasons that might explain this. I think that part of it is... might be, again, I'm just pulling shit out of my ass here. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But part of it might be basically the path to citizenship people that could have casted their ballots obviously in Clinton's favor, because that's what they want. Democrats and Republicans who want this path to citizenship stuff, they don't care about the lives of immigrants. They don't care about these people. They want the fucking votes. Well, actually, Democrats want the votes. Republicans want the cheap labor, which is why they both, the establishment Democrats and Republicans both agree on this path to citizenship stuff, which is a euphemism for just legalize the illegals. Where was I? Yes, and that might be a factor, and another factor might be the fact, like, based on the lay of the land on my Facebook anyway, it's kind of a criticism of the intellectual state of the world. I remember a meme floating up on Facebook about some lefty celebrity saying, like, yeah, we shouldn't be outraged against Trump. We should be outraged against the educational system that led to his rise to power in the first place, something like that. I agree with the core of that message, but for different reasons. And I think that the roughly 200,000 people who want Hillary in office over the ones who want Trump in office is a symbol of that. And it is further illustrated by these shitty ass arguments that people go for and walk past these really legitimate arguments, and they just leave them there. Like for instance, and I forget who brought this up, the shit, I forget if Trump was talking about Snowden or Manning, but he basically said, well, he's a traitor and we know what we do to traitors. And I remember my jaw dropping. This was, I think this was back in the primary. And yet another shocking thing that almost no one mentions. I remember maybe one or two friends of mine who are, I guess, de facto luminaries on my Facebook, which... it's shocking that all these things would be ignored to focus on these fucking conclusions. You know, you need to do a bit more than rehash the sound bites that CNN feeds you. This would also be true if your source was Fox News. I really don't care I don't care what your position is. I don't care who your source is. As long as you fucking try to make a case, that's all I care about. Just try to make a case instead of just shooting out your solution and then doing this as if it's case closed. So basically, one of the reasons, and again, I've made the case before, links below, as to why Trump is the lesser evil. Trump is not the enemy. Trump is not the friend of freedom. Not at all. And back in the primaries, I lost count of the amount of times I used the terms little tyrant to describe Trump. But the sad news is that, you know, for the purposes of these rants, Gary Johnson doesn't exist. Trump is the smallest enemy of freedom that was there, and I think that yet another reason that I'm glad that Trump is in and not Clinton is the fucking saber rattling that Clinton was doing during all three debates was really worrisome to me specifically. I mean, I'm a fighting age man with no kids. If there was a draft, I'd be one of the first names on the list. And the hounds of war, when they're howling, I can hear them from very far away. And to have Clinton throw out these vague threats like, we will not take your attempts to influence our election, laying down. That's fucking scary. And honestly, this whole image of Trump waking up in a bad mood someday and just nuking the planet is childish and false, and yet another example of the intellectual laziness that I've seen on the left for quite some time now. And I've been wanting to throw out this asterisk since the beginning of this video. Whenever I speak in terms of lefties or righties, that is verbal shorthand. I think the left-right paradigm is bullshit. I've recorded a video on this before, link below. But it's just quicker and easier to speak in those terms. And I annoy myself whenever I say that, including the 3 or 4 times that I've done so right now. So, continuing. I figured out a way to have notes in the car, by the way, so that's why I'm stopping. So one thing that I want to mention, because the whole thrust of what is probably going to be a series, and I apologize, I appreciate you holding in. I know I'm being really rambly and going left and right and all over the place. Hopefully by the end you'll think it was worth your while. But a point that I remember being brought up, I think it was during Brett Venat's conversation with Jeffrey Tucker on the alt-right. I will link to that podcast below. If I'm wrong, it was somewhere else, but you will still be better off after watching that episode than you were before. So, and this is what worries me about a Trump presidency. It's not what would happen during, but what will happen after. Because something that, if you've been paying attention, you already know, but based on what I've seen, I'm probably going to teach you something right now, which is sad. But one of the main things behind Trump's rise to power in the first place is the fact that people are fucking fed up with left-wing domination of the narrative. And this is something else I say over and over again. The left dominates the narrative so much that Fox News can actually get away with calling themselves alternative media, which is a fucking joke, okay? But the fact is, people are fed up with the lefties just dominating the narrative and just assuming that they win. An example of that was when Clinton, during the primaries, when Anderson Cooper asked the candidates what makes you different from Barack Obama, and Clinton basically said, well, I'm a woman, and stopped talking as if she had answered the question. And I applaud Cooper for actually pushing and saying, I meant on the issues. Can you actually answer my fucking question? So basically, one of the reasons that Trump rose to power is the overall malaise and fed-upness that people have with left-wing domination of the narrative. And the scary thing to me that I think it was Brett and Jeff who mentioned this in their conversation was that after a Trump presidency, who is the left-winger that's going to emerge as a response to Trump? I mean, as bad as Trump is, the lefty that would emerge as a response to him would be fucking Joseph Stalin Jr. or something. And that is one of the scarier things to me about the prospect of a Trump presidency. I know that on my Twitter last night I was seeing some posts about how people want Michelle Obama to run, which, you know, you could do worse than Michelle Obama. She definitely would have done better than Clinton with versus Trump. I mean, Hillary Clinton has the likability of a crypt keeper, even to her own base. I mean, I don't think anyone was really enthused about having Clinton be their candidate. The fact that, these are allegations. I haven't done my own research, but this is what I've heard, that she colluded her way onto the ballot in the first place, that basically Sanders would have won had the primaries been honest. And yeah, so the suggestion, the allegation that most Democrats wanted Sanders is evidence that no one was particularly enthused at the idea of voting for Clinton, except the vagina card of having the first woman president, which honestly, moving on. I think that one of the nice things about Trump being president is that he's going to illustrate just how powerless the president is as far as a title. I don't think it's going to show as much during the first 4 years, because now basically it was a clean sweep. They won the House, the Senate, and the White House, which means that the Supreme Court seat that's vacant is probably going to be filled in by a righty, which means that the right wing is going to control all three houses of the of politics, basically, of the government. There we go, federal. So I hope that it's going to be a demonstration of how basically inconsequential the presidency is, but as I just said, it's not going to show up during the first 4 years. Now, one thing that I want to mention, which is what brings me so much hope as far as a Trump presidency is concerned, is that Donald Trump is as close to an outsider as you're going to get with this system. And I know that a similar case could have been made for Barack Obama. And to those of you who watched my life story that I published a couple of videos ago, I was still a socialist when Obama was running for the candidacy and then the presidency and all that stuff. And I was charmed by Obama, just like a lot of people were. But one thing is for sure, community organizer, I guess you can say that's not in the establishment. I mean, I remember a lot of people attacking Obama for his lack of experience, which suggests that he wasn't exactly an establishment candidate on the surface. But there were some things, and I'm really proud of myself for having my doubts about Trump right from his first, basically when he was a candidate running for office. I think it was against McCain the first time. I remember raising my eyebrow at some of the things he was saying, like the fact that he was in favor of the Wall Street / banker bailouts was a red flag for me. But something else that is basically undeniable was the huge amount of support that Obama had from the mainstream media and Wall Street. I mean, there was a river of Wall Street money flowing into Obama's campaign. And that is not exactly a clue of someone who's a true outsider. You compare that to Trump, who was attacked on all fronts, including from his own fucking party, and basically to a large extent self-financed his campaign, and was attacked by the mainstream media and Wall Street. Basically, Wall Street was backed by Clinton, which makes it so hilarious whenever Clinton talks about how it's about time the elites stop getting their easy ride. Sure, bitch. Tell me more, Clinton, about how the elites should start owning up to their responsibilities and shit. Please, Clinton, tell me more. But I digress. The fact that Trump is attacked from all sides, including his own party, is a clue to how he is closer to being a true outsider than Obama was when he was running. So that in itself gives me hope that he might actually follow through on some of his promises. Remember when Obama was running on being transparent, on closing Guantanamo, and on getting out of Iraq, where Guantanamo is still open? He had more drone strikes and gag orders than Bush, and he got out of Iraq following Bush's timetable in a way that paved the road for the rise of ISIS. So thanks a lot, Obama. Again, you could have done worse than Obama, but outsider, not exactly. Wow, I got wound up and I lost my train of thought. But yeah, basically, yes. So compared to Obama when he was running, there were a lot of things during his campaign that made me raise an eyebrow and made me have my doubts about him really having the common man as a priority. Whereas Trump, you know, the jaw-dropping things that Trump has said during his campaign were not on the same order as following the establishment, and more along the ways of just shocking things like wanting to loosen libel laws to make it easier to attack reporters, to sue reporters, and that kind of stuff. That stuff is fucking shocking. Obviously, I'm the only one who ever mentions it when people are talking about Trump around me. But coming back to what I was saying, the stuff. Basically, Trump hasn't said anything that I can remember that is shocking and makes me doubt what his positions actually are. I think he's been pretty consistent from beginning to end, for better or for worse. And also this was a jaw-dropping moment to me in the good way. Trump is the only fucking candidate that I ever heard flat out saying Bush lied to get us into Iraq in those words. This was during the primary. If I can find the clip, I'll link to it below. But like, I remember being shocked. Like, everyone's fucking, beating around the bush, whereas Trump would flat out say, like, they lied to get us into Iraq. And yeah, I think that is enough for now. So this might be a series. I appreciate you still watching. I know I've been kind of jumping all over the place, losing my own trains of thought, but please like and share. Leave your comments to the threads that you can remember of this hopefully not too tangled word salad that I just spewed. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's been a nerve-wracking election cycle, and hopefully the next 4 years will be years of Trump actually draining that swamp. I've been burned by Obama. I'm not just going to assume that he's going to follow through on his promises until he actually does it, which is why I think the whole world will be keeping a close eye on the U.S. for the next 4 years. And I really hope that Trump follows through on his promises because, again, compared to World War III, grabbing by the pussy isn't so bad. And that is a sigh of relief. As a fighting age man with no kids, in anything that even slightly reduces the odds of World War III breaking out is a good thing for me. So on that note, thanks again. You'll find links to my social media below. Please share your comments, and there'll probably be at least one more of these, and then I can go break out one of these topics I've had on the back burner for a while. So thanks again. You take care.